Yeah, so some finger guns, some awkward finger guns. But yeah, we're back with another podcast. We didn't just film one before this. But yeah, right now we got Christian and Peter here at the warehouse. We're filming what is going to be episode 3 of our podcast. Yep. If you're new here, my name's Conor Ahearn. You can check out all my content on this channel. But in general, I'm a real estate entrepreneur here, product designer, and aspiring YouTuber. So, Christian, Peter, how about you guys introduce yourselves to the audience?
Peter Calcaterra. You can find me on all social medias with just Peter Calcaterra, and that's Calcaterra.
Right on.
Christian Skarli. You can find me on Instagram at Skarli, Coskarli.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, right now we kind of figured we would talk about the future of the car scene because it's kind of a weird topic moving forward because all the supercars are likely going to end up electric and or hybrid in some way. Mm-hmm. And I mean, normal cars are getting crazy fast and not that bad looking. Like, look at the new Camry. I mean, it's not so bad.
It's a little annoying almost how good looking some of those are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you go into like Target and you see like artisanal furniture and you're like, what? Like, this is screwing me over as a manufacturer of like nice like furniture. Mm-hmm. So I was gonna get like a version of my furniture for like 1/10 of the price.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, I think with that kind of thing, you're buying from a specific person because you like their work or they like your style.
Yeah, and so, also you want it to last more than like a year. Right. 2 years.
The kind of people who are buying your shit are not going to be the kind of people who are just running in and like impulse buying something at Target.
Yeah. Also the fact that it was
dorm room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, what are your personal thoughts on like the next 5 to 10 years of like the car industry? Where do you think it's going to go? Like autonomous, electric? Where are you thinking?
Go ahead.
Brain power.
I think, well, here's the thing. I mean, there's a little bit of an open end there because there's autonomous, electric, all this. Start with autonomous just because it was the first thing that hopped in my mind. I mean, we've been having some autonomous vehicles being tested on the roads in certain places for a while. I think more than some people realize because I felt like I followed it relatively closely, and I'd be in a different city across the country and all of a sudden see some self-driving cars I didn't even know a company was testing out. So they've been around for longer than you'd think, and it's kind of to the point where most people aren't like shocked when they see a minivan with like 5 radars on it or whatever, like all of their LiDAR.
Yeah, I
and
feel
all
like
those
most
things.
people think it's just Google Maps.
Right.
Yeah.
And but there's really like a lot of taxi companies, all sorts of things that are.
I know BMW was pushing hard for a while, but I haven't heard much about it for a while.
They have stuff like the pull in and out of a parking space and things like that too, which are autonomous.
Yeah, Summon mode's pretty cool. Definitely a nice little gimmick.
I was out in a little farther than Farmington Hills, so like an hour away from where we are now. Mm-hmm. They had camo Lincolns driving around with, I would say, over 100 cameras on it.
Well, I'm gonna guess.
And I'm like, what do you get? And then I'm like, what
that's
do you guys
probably the new share, because isn't Ford and Rivian partnered up now? Because I know they got the investment from Amazon.
Yeah, they look
and
like
I think
NPCs
then Ford did a partnership with them to get their electric technology, because Ford's no way going to be able to catch up to bake their own like F-150 electric model to compete with Elon Musk's new truck.
No,
highly doubt it. They might make a good one.
Yeah, but it's just going to have to be a rebodied Rivian.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
it could be.
Rivian has got some seriously good stuff.
I mean, speaking of which, we should we should try to get some of our friends in from Rivian and have them on for a podcast segment.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to talk to them and see what they're able to talk about, because I mean, the design industry is a little tricky where personal thoughts can be a little exposing for a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, absolutely. And I think if they're working on any sort of project with it, there's a lot they probably can't say. So
exactly. But if you guys are making a 6x6, please do, and make it 6x6 powered. That would be rad. Mm-hmm. imagine having an electric motor at each axle segment, or I mean, you could even just have an electric motor powering the 4 rear wheels and one up front for the front two,
Right.
or individual ones for each front. So like have 3 electric motors.
Yeah, and to be honest,
crazy.
with the efficiency of an electric motor, I think that having one on each wheel probably isn't even that big of a
It's not a big deal.
expense because you have
You're-
transfer issues and efficiency
The biggest
losses
thing
when you're using them
with
in the
electric
middle.
cars is just having the battery source.
Right. Yeah, it's battery
The cost
source.
is mostly the batteries. It's not really much about the brushless motors.
Right, exactly. So I don't think that the motors are like adding more motors would be that much more expensive, but I think you'd start to add in like things like a need for differential and power transfer and things like that. Then you're going to start to have loss in power in the drivetrain, more things to brake, etc. So I think.
Well, I think actually there's less things to break in an electric car.
Well, what I mean is if you have one motor powering 2 separate wheels at the same time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's much better to have just
One
one
on
motor.
each, yeah.
Yeah, but you do have to worry about, I guess, the runtime hours on those motors, because you would assume a smaller motor has a smaller runtime window, like our usage life.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about the.
Well, it's like every
lifetime of the motors.
mechanical item, everything that has a mechanical function, even like your
It has a
camera.
lifetime.
Yeah, even like your camera lens opening.
Yeah,
has a mechanical lifetime.
Right. How many shutter clicks there are. There's like miles on a camera even.
Yeah, I mean
with
your
shutters.
elbow joint
Right.
has how many times it can actually move in your
Right,
lifetime.
Exactly.
But I mean, electric cars bring in that interesting opportunity to, be eco-friendly. As long as, I guess there still has to be more efforts done on batteries to make it sustainable, where we're not just like coring out our planet to create batteries.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think what I've heard about electric cars is that a lot of times in places, especially that don't have as much renewable energy like America,
It's really not worthwhile.
it's that where are you getting the power?
Exactly.
And not only that, but
You have to put in your own structure, or kind of like ecosystem. Like, you have to have the Tesla wall, like the battery pack, the solar panels, or like solar shingles. And then with that, you have to look at like possibly even better opportunities, such as like if you live by a stream, having opportunity to get like power generated
Right.
off of water passing by.
Exactly, because otherwise your power is coming straight out of that smokestack like everybody else's.
Yep.
So
You have to be able to create your own offset to tap into that resource.
And the one other thing is, I think part of the reason why I haven't heard a whole lot about the lifetime on the motors is because the lifetime on the batteries is what I've heard is
Yeah.
after about 100,000 miles, you scrap the battery and the battery costs almost as much as the car is worth at
Yeah,
that time.
isn't it like 10 or 15 grand for the battery pack?
I don't know any specific numbers, but I remember
I've heard
with
that
the
you can make
depreciation.
crazy money from just picking up a Tesla and salvaging out the battery and battery pack.
Really?
Really?
Something I looked into for a design I'm working on. I can't talk much about it, but what I can say is that there's definitely use for the Tesla battery and Tesla motor, or even Tesla motor and like the Chevy Volt battery. It's a little cheaper to obtain. But with that being said, it's kind of, if you try to buy them like from someone salvaging them themselves, they want like $15,000 to $20,000 for like the wiring harness and motor, and you can go find a Tesla and Copart for whatever the listing auction is. More than likely, it's probably around $6,000 to $8,000. So it's not that bad. I mean, there's even this guy, Rich Rebuilds, I think.
I saw that.
He's over in Massachusetts, and he's got the first like Tesla non-branded repair shop.
Oh.
So he took a Tesla that was clapped out, and then bought another one and transferred all the electronics over to the broken one, or from the broken one that was flooded, or took the mechanics of the flooded car and brought it over to like different car. I don't know how it exactly worked. One
He
was
merged
broken.
two
And,
together.
yeah, he merged two,
Frankenstein.
made one Frankenstein,
Yeah.
and then figured out a way to hide it from Tesla from getting auto updates and disabling it.
Wow.
Yeah, and now Tesla is apparently cool with it, and he doesn't have to hide it as much. But like,
Well, that's good because they should definitely
They should be cool
allow modifications of
Well-
electric cars, or else the auto. Like,
well, that's I guess what we're talking about here in the podcast. Like, what is the future of modification for like the car scene?
Gotcha.
And I mean, we can talk about what the OEMs will do, but I feel like everyone kind of understands where the OEMs are going, and the OEMs are, as much as we like to think of them as powerhouses, but they're playing catch up to innovations, and
Yeah.
innovators like Elon Musk. I mean, I know I have kind of like a little fanboy crush on Elon over there, but I mean, he's doing crazy things, and they would still be laughing about the idea of an electric car if he didn't do what he did with Tesla. Because look at Fisker. Fisker fucking flopped.
Those are going for like 30 grand now.
Yeah, and I know
all day
someone's
long,
trying
like-
to redo the brand, and it's rough goings for Fisker. Good looking car, kind of, but
yeah,
like,
it's
They're
still
interesting.
it's still seen as like an exotic icon. I've seen it in like rap videos and stuff.
yeah, but I think that was a weird hype thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Weird hype. It was from somebody who thought it was more exotic than it ended up being, or whatever.
Yeah, and they wrapped them chrome like Justin Bieber and stuff like that.
yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, there's a whole new category of hot rodders that are emerging from the Tesla motor is the new LS swap.
Oh boy.
And I probably should have reference of this, but I've seen everything from a drift build to a Baja truck converted to Tesla power.
Wow.
Yeah. So let me try to
I've seen
find that
a
up.
few time attack ones.
I wish we got a Jamie from JRE.
Yeah.
Oh, but also I found this video of this. She's like a maker, a creator, YouTube girl that she bought a brand new Model 3 because she wanted a Tesla truck, and she couldn't get one, so she just bought a brand new Model 3 and cut it up and turned it into a truck. Like it was kind of impressive because I was like, she ran the numbers, and it was cheaper to go buy a brand new one than a used one because the new one came out with the cheaper like buy-in option. So she was
Right.
just like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that, hack it apart, and that guy Rich Rebuilds helped her program out some of the safety concerns it was having, and
Wow.
boom, there you go.
My buddy's dad's got a Tesla, and he'll randomly one day his car updated, right? His back seat just became heated all of a sudden.
Oh, so this is that
In the
Model
Model
3 that I was talking about. This creator ended up making this.
Like a Ute.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
It's pretty neat.
The body lines actually work with it, you know?
That's actually the cheaper wheel option that has the guards over them.
Yeah.
That's what they look like when you take them off. You know
Oh.
those big ugly disc wheels?
Oh, really?
That is actually the cheap wheel. That's when you just take the disc off. That's what it looks like.
Wow, it looks great without the cover on it.
Yeah, you know the cover on it, and they add it's 15-mile range on your Tesla. Those covers.
Wow.
That looks awful.
I mean, aerodynamics.
I mean,
Makes sense.
I'd take it off. Anyways.
I mean, do you remember the, what was that Honda that was like super aerodynamic?
Yeah.
And
And
the-
the rear wheels.
Yeah,
were
the
tucked
rear
up-
wheels
yeah.
were skinnier than the front.
It looks like an old school computer mouse just driving around.
But I mean, people are definitely doing swaps. I mean, like check this out. I mean, that looks like a John Ward's icon.
Yeah, that's
Definitely one of
These
his
are all-
icon derelicts. Yeah, so this
my
is the
God.
Tesla Honda.
Wow.
This is
Tesla Honda, that's
it's a
fine.
drag build, and it's crazy.
that looks scary. That looks. I don't know. I mean, I probably would. But
Okay, I mean,
I don't know if I would
I
go
don't want to pull up a video because I'm not in full understanding about like monetization of playing other people's videos. So I gotta look into that a little bit more before we start playing other people's content.
Gotcha.
But I know the Tesla Honda has some crazy launch times and stuff like that.
I like the little time attack green car.
Yeah, the Cobra.
Cobra.
It's probably a factory 5. It looks like a factory
Man,
5.
that RWB though, how have
Can
we
I
not
just
pointed
say-
that out yet?
I was gonna
Because
point
it's
it
just
out.
too cool to talk about already.
It's just, everybody already knows it's badass.
Not
Yeah.
even like that. Even I could see that being electric.
Well,
Like, that
yeah,
one doesn't
so
bother me
that,
as much as the other.
That's the thing. There's this kit, EV West, that plug to them. They
Not good.
I don't think I spelled that right. There we go. They make full-on swap kits for various cars. So I mean, like you got a factory
Wow.
5, like 911s. So
Wow, and they're not that expensive.
exactly.
What?
So imagine having a classic VW, and it's futuristic.
You could get a BW, or excuse me, a Bug. Just
I mean, an
a Bug for,
MR2,
like,
dude.
$3,000.
Yeah,
or a
but-
rolling, like a good one.
Do you know how
Rolling
great an MR2 would be? Mid-engine, electric.
Yeah.
That would
be
be
sweet.
awesome, as long as you get the balance of the batteries correct.
Here's the one thing about that is,
You're adding a lot of weight.
well, if it's mid-engine, wait, are these are complete swaps from
More or
gas,
less.
or are they hybrid swaps?
No, complete electric.
Okay. Because then with a mid-engine car, the mid doesn't actually matter necessarily.
Yeah.
Besides, maybe a better place for the batteries.
Well,
or
so
something?
no, these work off of adapter plates from like Tesla motor to your standard transmission or transaxle, depending on
Okay.
the car. So you're still going to be shifting this 911.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so it's electric but has gears.
Yes, that's the weird but fun part. Isn't that like? It's a little odd.
That's so.
Yeah, 'cause it's not like you'd gain power. So like shifting would be just kind of.
It's a nostalgic thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you're still going to want to throw the gears
You
in your
could
old
keep it in,
911.
right. You could also keep it in first.
You could
and-
re-gear
and
your.
go
You could
150.
strip out your transmission, and just have
Make
it
it
one
direct.
accelerating gear, pretty much, and have it cleared out for reverse. I think a machine shop would be able to figure that out. I'm not great with transmission knowledge,
Right.
but I'm sure they would be able to.
How much slower does it make when you shift? That's the real question.
I don't think you're going for speed with something
I'd
like
just
this.
be interested, 'cause,
With
like,
hot
that's-
rodding, dude, I'm never big into the like hot rod to like drag race. I know some people are. I'm not big into
But if
it.
you think about it, if it's gears, when it technically accelerates a little faster because it's not pulling that one gear.
Well, to reference Koenigsegg, they still have, what is it? Like they didn't have a clutch, but they have like practically like 7 different like transmissions or something, rather than like.
Yeah, it's not even a standard gearbox. Like when you're shifting, it looks.
It just engages different transmissions or some crazy nonsense like
I
that.
did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta.
Yeah,
the
you gotta
Jesko?
deep dive.
Look up it's like
the
spelled
Jesko.
Jesko.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely look it
Jesko.
up. It's the Koenigsegg Jesko. We are going to do a little explaining.
Yes, but that's not an electric car. So
Right.
that's definitely the other, I guess, segment of the future of supercars or hypercars in that case. Because I mean, there's these small brands that they're gonna be kind of like the coach builders of this era, where people used to build bodies over like small, like I mean, Model
To buy
T
the car
frames.
separate.
Yeah,
Yeah, the chassis and the.
yeah. You would have your chassis
cabinet
built
is separate.
to like the guy that built your buggy, like your horse and buggy.
It was like furnishing the chassis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like it was a wood, like a wood craftsman and like a blacksmith usually. Actually, where I'm getting married, they have some of those Victorian era vehicles.
That'll be awesome.
It's really cool.
That'll look great in photos.
Yeah, it's really it's interesting. They have a toilet, like a legitimate porcelain toilet in one of them.
Wow.
But I guess going back to like modern like reference,
Yeah.
you're like your brain is blown
Just
right
in
now.
the car,
You're
yeah,
like,
like
yeah, picture like just like a woman with a giant frilly dress, like trying to like, yeah, no one sees this.
Yeah.
No one sees this.
That's
Like,
wild. Yeah.
yeah, that definitely was like going by the peasants. Yes, I'm taking a shit.
Yeah. This is the premium
I
height
will
of luxury.
throw it at you now. Yes, plebeians.
Throwing poo.
Poo. How dare you throw poo at me? But like, I think now that skateboard technology, like the reference to the battery pack woven into a bottom deck for the cars to sit on, which is, I mean, Tesla kind of has that technology somewhat, and then Rivian appears to be fully based on the skateboard technology. So
I heard they had some issues during crash testing.
I think I heard the same, but I'm not too sure. I don't want to confirm that.
I just heard
I know
something.
that I know they designed the vehicle to sustain a lot of shock absorption and undercarriage impact, because they want to be like the off-road. They want to fit the Patagonia consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Tesla is the architect's vehicle, they want to be the outdoorsman's vehicle. They want to be the contractor's vehicle. They want to,
Which I think there's a massive market for.
I think the market's bigger. Mm-hmm. I think it reads as American more effectively, because not enough people understand that Tesla is an American company.
Yeah, I told my dad that. My dad was like, "No," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's like more American than the Chevy that you drive."
Exactly. More parts of that Tesla are produced here and handled by American workers than
Almost
your Ford, your Chevy. I mean, Ford's catching up. Ford's doing a little bit better, but I mean, all these guys, all the big three have plants in Asia, Mexico, Europe, all that. I mean, and they're shipping them over. It's not just they manufacture them for that region; they're shipping them over. I mean, look at the Focus RS. Like Ford was like, we can't let the Americans build that. It's a little too tricky. But yet somehow it still got a head gasket issue. Mm-hmm. So Tesla has their own issues, but they're an American company. That's rad. We'll see how Rivian does. I mean, they're not out yet. They've got some great hype behind them. Have you seen their like truck in person yet, guys?
No,
or
I've seen a camoed one in person.
Okay.
Months.
I mean,
ago.
you can't say really how did it sound other than its tires moving. But
I don't really know. It was
Some
camoed.
EVs have like have a little bit of a
but that's
Well,
mostly tire.
The Fisker Comrade makes weird like spacey noise. We kind of have a sound that sounds like it. It's like
Does it?
I don't know. It's like
Is it
weird.
into the speakers or is it?
Oh,
Yeah, I was about to say-
100% speaker, but it even has a speaker inside the engine bay, so when it drives by, the people can still hear
Well,
it.
I was gonna say it's kind of like BMW-esque at that point. Mm-hmm. I mean, BMW hasn't sounded phenomenal in quite some time.
Yeah.
And they're like, sorry guys, let me just play you a soundtrack of an old
Let's
M3.
put a Band-Aid on that.
Yeah. I mean, Mustang does the same thing. They literally take the like air intake and they funnel a little bit of air
Oh, I have it in
from
my
the
car.
cabin. Yeah, Ford does it on a lot of their cars. To give you the sound
Like
of your
noise
intake.
imposers.
Like
Oh,
it's really annoying because like
Once-
you'll just be throttling and you're like,
Yeah, and you're like,
what is this noise I'm hearing in my cabin? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's my intake.
yeah.
It's a really weird noise to funnel into my
No, if you
car.
pop my hood, you can literally see just a random hose going from my
Yeah, it's
intake tubing right to my firewall, and you're like, what the hell?
yeah. You're like, this also is definitely somewhat a fire hazard. Like,
Right. There's
and think about all the kids vaping. Does your engine need vape juice? Gonna give your car cancer.
billowing through the intake.
Why is my car smoking? It's not a blown head gasket. It's too much schnozberry juice.
Raspberry.
But I mean, do you think kit cars are going to be a thing in the future? Do you think like the legislation is going to like start to block people
Good
from
point,
like working on their cars? Because I heard in California, it's already in some counties like it's like a misdemeanor offense to be like working on your car in your garage. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm a headline reader, so like that could have been completely bogus. So don't cite me.
Right.
But like I know that like even even here locally, there's a few places that technically in the town bylaws, you're not really meant to be working on your car. Like if it's on jack stands, like outside of your garage, like you're in trouble.
I can see that, but that's because you're out in public. It's an eyesore.
It's a blight.
Right. They don't want.
But even then, they don't really want you working on your garage, like in your garage. I feel like.
I would hate it. I mean, I plan on like building a helicopter in my garage for fun.
Dude. I mean, that's weird. The FAA will let you build an airplane or a helicopter.
Ultralights.
Yeah, and yet they're worried about people building cars.
Yeah. Well, I will say that there's less traffic. If you die, it's usually just you in
but
the helicopter.
you
The
could
airplane,
land on things.
Yeah, but rarely do they actually hit people. Usually, it's people are like, "Oh, I'm going down. I'm gonna like
aim for the bushes.
Yeah, aim for the bushes, aim for the trees," and it really doesn't go so well.
Impaled.
That's why you got to get an Icon A5.
I've seen that with is it a propeller in the back?
Yeah.
Yep. It is awesome.
So we're switching to aviation for a moment, but
well, I mean, future of
this is future of
and things.
Future of my YouTube channel. Get me that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we'll see where we can go from there. But
I think that would probably.
So how much does that thing cost?
130 grand.
Really?
Maybe 200 at this point, because when they first announced it was like 130, but like I think that there's some price increase.
It is so sick.
But,
you've seen videos of it taxiing around in the water.
Oh yeah, so it behaves like a jet ski in the water.
Yep.
It can land on the water, land on like grass, land on standard asphalt. It's got a pretty short like distance for like landing and takeoff, but and it's a Rotex motor. Like I think it's like the jet ski motors.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Or at least designed by the same company.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean,
same principles and stuff.
Well, the LS3 is FAA certified. So
Really?
yeah, you can have an LS LS swap the like
LS
A5.
Yeah. It's like like a Rolls Royce motor or something from World War II. Like they like automakers have been known to create motors for
Exactly.
But
I mean, there was I forget the airplane, but I was looking at this small, like very nimble, very unpractical airplane. Like it was one of those.
you're gonna buy a jet, were you?
No. This was like a single seater, like you could.
Acrobatic.
Acrobatic, more like sightseeing kind of thing than like purposeful. It was like, but it had a big LS3 hanging out the front of it, and I was like, oh, I need that.
That's absolutely.
Because if I could have a hangar with the LS3 airplane and my LS3 Miata right next to each other, like aviator gray.
Oh, matching.
Oh, and
you've got red Sparkos in the plane.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm gonna take my fake Sparkos and mount them in my forklift.
Oh, that's
And and 3D
funny.
print spinners for the wheels. I'm not messing around.
this is a underglow.
Revelations.
Underglow. You need that too. Don't forget.
Underglow,
Yeah.
spinners, subwoofer.
Bosuzoku exhaust
Do you
pipe.
think Bosuzuku and Underglow is gonna hit America? Do you think the
some of
90s is gonna come back?
Some of the boys that we roll with have started to really rock Underglow, and I think started out as a joke, and now they kind of
They kind of do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of their thing.
Uh-huh.
But we have like a weird subgroup of the Michigan car scene, and I'm
they
not
like to do it to the extreme, no matter what.
Yeah, it's a really interesting subgroup.
Yes, I agree.
Because I don't think it naturally reflects the Michigan collective.
I would agree. I think that we're not the only ones that are like that, but it's definitely the minority of. I think there's.
Well, let's clear things up.
Yeah.
Because Christian and I are referencing a group of people that are associated with the Rally Kings Rally. It's a great group, great rally, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we're a little bit more flamboyant as a collection of cars than the majority of Michigan. Though the
I would agree
rally
with that.
wants people to come in on whatever car they can or have, whether you have a Focus or a Mustang or a Huracan,
Right.
They don't really care. It just so happens that there's quite a few of us that have nice cars.
Right.
And
There's even been some absolute in the nicest way possible, junkers on the rally that they bring on purpose to just be the wild car.
Exactly.
Sketchy, but they're.
I mean,
hanging
I've
with them
seen
on
like
purpose, so much fun.
like a Wagoneer wagon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
what was that?
It was wooden on the side.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. It
I've
was,
seen that thing driving around.
and it was. I think it's an LS swap. And he was just ripping it on the track.
Every time we've had somebody come on the rally with like with a car of that nature, I guess more of the rugged style and stuff, they've always
send it.
Oh, they send it so hard.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think they're probably the least safe cars too. But
So it
They're
goes.
for the best.
you can beat on it, and blow it up, and
Yeah. So with that being said, we definitely have some interesting trends within the group, whether it's style of having underglow. There's a few members or low key members I've seen that kind of have that Bosuzuku.
very like borderline. Yeah, like a toned down version of Bosuzoku.
Yeah, I mean, like if you added a tall exhaust on my V8 Miata, it would be in that zone.
Yeah, you just need a little bit extra plywood on the front lip.
Yeah, I do want to add a front lip and silly rear diffuser. So I'm getting in that zone where it's like,
It's like Bosuzoku.
Don't
but
wanna go
track.
too far.
It's track
Yeah.
Bosuzoku, which like I think would look badass, and you probably would get some shit from track boys though.
oh, I know I'm gonna get
Yeah.
some shit from real like time attackers and track
I
boys.
wouldn't
They're
care.
gonna be like, man,
I just
that's
do it."
not aerodynamically correct. It's like, okay, well, guess what? I made it myself.
It's badass.
So
Cooler than yours.
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't need a shop to make me this.
it's awesome. Well, hey, okay, coming back to this plane.
Yeah. Oh,
What do they? I mean, they call it a plane, right? No, they call it a personal.
You don't need a license for it.
it's
aircraft
light,
something.
like sports license.
It's like
It's like a 3 to 7 day course.
So it's not like your full.
No.
It's like
pilot
it's like a tenth of a normal.
Yeah,
pilot's
like
license.
All right.
you don't
It's a
have to
little
have as
light.
many hours. Like you're really not meant to fly at night.
Right.
like,
There's different. I believe there's probably different levels like skydiving and stuff.
Height.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Yeah, you probably can't be doing any commercial flights.
Yeah.
Like you're probably limited on the number of passengers, but that's naturally limiting on what level
Planes
of
you can-
plane you can buy and
Right.
legally fly.
And they all have very strict regulations on how fast a plane can fly in order to stay within its same class. Well, and even helicopter as well. Just different. Looking more, at least I know more about the ultralights because I've looked into them before. But I think this is like the next class up from an ultralight
Yeah.
because a lot of times ultralights don't have enclosed cockpits, and this
Yeah.
is clearly designed with a
Well, yeah. So this was designed by a CCS student.
really.
Yeah. So I went to a really good school.
Yeah, this is why it's a fucking badass. I've followed this since.
Yeah, since like 2011 or
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. I was in
Something
high
like
school
that.
when it came out, and I haven't followed it closely, but
So I mean, I don't think airplanes are going to take over the future of travel, but I think that stuff like this definitely presents interesting opportunities for people, such as some of our rally group, like we were just talking about, where some people are fortunate enough to have expensive cars, and I think as more fun products like this come to market, they might start switching to more airplane rallies.
well, I mean that would
That
that
man,
would be
that would be the-
wild.
Dude, I think we would, instead of the police being called on us, what? We have the military called on us? That would be
Yeah.
horrifying.
That would be
Oh, that'd be terrifying. I think anyway.
the best story ever, though.
yeah. Well, until you have like raptors on either side and they're
Pointing
like
guns at you.
grounding you. They're like, yeah, so you're going to land like now.
Remember that one time we flew next to a fighter jet? That was pretty sweet. We were like in formation for a few
these
seconds.
things could dip down on a lake and just land and sit there and be like, sup.
That's true.
Yeah, you would just dip down because those planes can't fly as slow as you can.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they can't fly slow, and so they'd be passing you. Good point.
Yeah, it's tricky. They would have to get a helicopter.
And they'd have to call in. Yeah, like the jets would come. They would be patrolling the area.
Okay, this
They
is
got
becoming
missiles.
like planning of a federal offense.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
like
The future of the car scene.
Next thing you know, FBI is knocking on the front door.
Yeah.
Well, no, in 5 years, this could be a problem.
It's it's funny because
We convince a few of our friends to get planes, and suddenly we do have a problem here.
maybe we'll make an airspace podcast because what really fits well into this is drones, FAA regulated drones,
Dude. Absolutely. That's a whole nother topic that I would love to talk
exactly.
about.
And I think we could group this type of thing into that.
But like while we're talking about the FAA, let's jump into the EPA.
Okay.
Because the EPA is, what regulates everyone on what kind of cars they can kind of push out. I mean, they do a lot more than that. But essentially, auto manufacturers have to, kind of follow the EPA guidelines on emission standpoint and all that. And I believe the EPA guidelines kind of got dropped recently under the Trump administration.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. I haven't.
I don't follow it too
Not
heavily.
at all.
I don't follow it too heavily, but I believe they got a little loosened.
I remember hearing that he did something along the lines with commercial stuff, especially. I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So I guess really there's not that facilitating hand to get to electric vehicles if they're not as strict. But do you think the market will drive people to electric cars versus?
Here's the thing. I think that we're going to start to see, especially with looser restrictions on coal and all that type of thing, and entire environmental thing that Trump.
Well, this is how we have Hellcats.
Well, yeah. Well, I think I think we're going to start to see a little bit of major coal company and natural gas companies starting to market themselves very differently, as in blue and green, and we're eco fuel, and it's the same thing.
It's the same thing,
but they're calling it something different.
They literally called I think I forget what they classified it as, but they classified a new natural gas or something under the new guidelines as freedom fuel. I'm not joking. Right up there.
I'm speechless. And it's a podcast. I'm speechless.
Dead air, intentional dead air.
Wow.
But so I guess to have a quick sum up, do you think we're gonna see a death of the tuning scene? Do you think people are still gonna be able to work on their cars? What do you think the internal combustion motors it's got a death day?
I think California is always going to be California. They are always plagued by the strictest laws, the first laws that ever come out. Not all of them get spread. We've seen a lot of laws that get started in California that just don't pick up anywhere else.
And that new exhaust one's rough.
Yeah, and you can get a fix-it ticket for your car being too low if you're in the low scene.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff like that. So I think California is going to be California, but I think that there's definitely, going to be, there just will always, car guys aren't going to go away.
Yeah.
There'll probably be at least the tuning in the, the petrol scene, essentially.
I just feel like we're going to get
alive.
how skateboarding got really pretty much started off very loserish.
Yeah.
I feel like car tuning's going to get really loserish. In the majority of the eyes. Until F1 or Formula E turns into F1, then it's then there's this weird transition gap that esports is going to get bigger than real sports at one point, but we're at that position of at
esports
one point something has to fold over the other, know?
Right. Yep. I think part of that is based off the generations and the generation of people that are starting to come into power. And
so another
more
30 years of waiting for people to die.
As bad as it sounds,
pretty much.
We were born and our infrastructures with everything were started
at that point.
for
There's just going to be
different
scooters
type of
everywhere.
life. I know a lot of people hate those, but they are so fun.
They are convenient.
So much fun.
Honestly, Christian is having Subaru problems, every Subaru owner.
Indeed.
So I even was about to be just take one of those damn scooters all the way over here.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I thought about it.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have lasted that whole way. But I have ridden them
you
shocking
take
about
one
distances.
You take one on your back
and you just
Right.
reload. Like,
You drop it, and you strategically grab another one.
you're like Zelda,
But,
just like swapping them out of your
As
back.
you drive
and
through the
nowhere.
hood, you'll have to switch to the other brand because
Yeah.
they're. It's very interesting how they kind of geolocate the different brands around certain areas, and it's really about where they're telling people to drop them off. Is there a price difference between those? Like, is Lime cheaper than Spin and
I think
Bird?
they're all the same.
So okay, so actually,
They're close.
I think some of it goes different. Like, I'm sure some of it goes different by city because there's some cities that have like 8 different brands, and there's some cities that have speed limits on them, so they can't go faster than 15
Yeah,
miles
exactly.
an
And
hour.
then some areas are just geolocated out. Like, no,
Yeah.
can't go in here. Battery's
And-
gonna die.
And Detroit, I know Bird is significantly more expensive, like 35 cents a mile. So like $1.50 to start or something like
Yeah.
that. And then 35 cents a mile instead of.
And then Lime's the cheapest.
Lime
I
is
think.
like 15 cents a mile or something.
it?
Yeah.
So, and it adds up. It really does. Like, but when you're riding birds around town just for fun,
Yeah.
and you end up like
racking up $35.
Yeah,
just
and you're like, I could have Ubered home and back twice. You
Yeah.
know, this is the point.
exactly.
But I will say, like, Limes, Birds, while I've had car issues, I'm fortunate enough to live right downtown, so I'm within bird distance of
Birds.
everything.
Yeah.
So so there's even some in my apartment complex sometimes, so I can just ride straight into town, and it ends up not being as big of a deal as it could be. So
yeah,
I think it'd be so nice.
I mean,
it
Just
really,
go walk outside, hop on a scooter.
I
it really is.
store.
And
Peter and I live in like a suburban area, so we don't have
You
birds.
can find them sometimes.
No, I saw a high schooler riding a bird,
okay,
and
so-
I was like, hold on,
Sorry.
let me put out my hypothesis, and you tell me if it's true, because I feel like you have some insight on this.
Yeah.
I think a high schooler to our local area had been taking one home, like he hijacked it and was just charging it up, because this was before they started selling them. Because you can now get your own bird.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Bird's now reaching out to like all the booty models, being like, "Hey, here's a free scooter."
Do they look the same?
They have like
They're a different color.
they're a little
I was gonna say,
nicer.
you can have strangers always picking up your
No,
your scooter
they're
trying to
nicer.
ride it.
They're nicer. And I think they have like a built-in front light and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
So I mean, like, I guess that's some future of transportation,
and
dude.
actually, I believe Ford, I think, bought Spin. This is an
Ford
completely- I haven't looked it up, but Ford had a Spin booth at the auto show, and so
Yeah,
I
they
assume
own
that
Spin.
right.
They own
and,
Spin.
and Spin was god awful until the auto show, and the weekend of the auto show, they were on point.
Yeah.
And then ever since, they've been pretty good. They've gone up and down a little bit.
Well,
but
they
for the
probably
most part,
put
they've-
some of their project leaders from Ford on Spin for a moment, and they're like, "Hey, get this software
they
worked
need to,
out."
They need to be good for the auto show because this is when everybody's going to be needing to drive to the auto show. for parking.
and they need to be able to trust them for the upcoming spring auto show because they're changing over.
And is that going to this? Is that this year or is that?
I think that's
They're
this.
be next
skipping a year. I thought they were like gonna.
Oh, maybe they're
skip
skipping a
and
year.
then do it.
That would make sense too because it more time to plan and everything. Unless
Yeah,
it's just been
and-
in the works.
Kind of create a hype, because people are backing out left and right.
Yeah,
That's
it was pretty.
It's a rough one. I mean, good for our car group.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we can. But I mean,
kudos to those guys because they coordinated something very big.
Yeah.
But that was very cool to walk up and be like, wow, hey friends, like you all have taken over 2 booths. Like,
yeah, at the auto
impressive.
show, the North American Auto Show. Like,
Yeah.
and it's really cool. I think we should probably wrap. Wrap back around at least to
I mean, Pierre, do you have any final thoughts
Yeah.
on?
EPA restrictions modified scene of electric vehicles.
I don't really know much about that, so I really have nothing.
Man,
Alrighty.
you were meant to be our
The young hip one.
Dun, dun, dun.
sub millennial input.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
what-
I guess maybe one specific question would be like, okay, wait. I mean, how old are you again?
20.
Okay, so so different generation of like high school or college. Like we wouldn't have gone to school together. So I guess there's probably enough difference. Like, do you have any friends with an electric car?
Their parents have them.
Okay. Do any of them have even like modified wheels or tinted windows or
Are they remotely interested in cars? Most of your friends.
So my friend said he is, but he has his other toys. The Tesla, just like the daily.
It's
The only
just-
mod it has is a clear bra, so you can't really count that.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't count clear bra, I would say, but
No.
But I will say I have seen some modified Teslas, and I
Yeah,
think
And
there's
the
that
Vorshiner kit?
Yeah. There's some body kits.
Was it Vorshiner that made it?
and I think that we probably just haven't seen much of it yet because there's not a high
It's a
enough
tuning.
percentage.
It's a. The thing is, you need to be
It's
very
also so
smart.
different, yes.
Yeah.
Because they're like coding
And
Not a
you
lot of
need to.
parts.
Well,
things
it's
to make it
also
faster.
in the same way that you used to jailbreak your iPhone, being like, "Please don't break my phone." You
Because
have to jailbreak your Tesla to start tuning it.
And the concept of the actual thing is pretty simple. So if one thing goes out, that's like the monitor, which controls everything,
Yeah.
with no other
Yeah.
buttons, or like the motor, or the
Yeah.
battery. I mean, there's very few
You could
things. to
very
actually, so if
much
you
so mess up an input, and the
just
back end
brick
of
an
those
entire part of your car.
Yeah, the back end of cars is not very specific. There's a lot of toggle, like digital toggle switching, where you're like, put this input here, and like you can fuck with with Ford products. You can change out like how like your display reads out and everything. Like you can change it all out to like a Lincoln navigation welcome screen just by changing code. And like if you want your lights to turn on when you unlock the car, that's just changing out like a sequence of code.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
It's like what the they have those Beamers it's like a girl's name. You plug them in, you can change headlights and everything.
yeah.
What are those called? You know what I'm talking about?
You can you plug it into like your?
You plug them to your OBD sensors.
OBD,
You can
yeah.
change the lights. You can change how when the windows roll down.
That's
It's
basically a jailbreak.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is.
Cool.
I forget what its name though.
Well, it's an OBD to like
Reprogrammer thing.
essentially.
It's not like a Cobb tune. It's like
It's a Cobb tune for
lights.
fuckboys.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like,
Pretty guys, pretty.
hey, babe, check this out. I make
babe.
my headlights purple.
Yeah. And,
It's your favorite color.
they're driving around with purple headlights or something. I mean,
And for Wednesday, I changed it to green for Tiffany.
we're headed out
Sorry
to the
to
club.
everyone.
Make it flash. Yo, strobe
Hey,
light.
strobe lights. Hit that strobe light until you hear that po-po.
Oh, sorry. Are you epileptic?
Like, oh, sorry. You went my way.
But
Yeah, sorry,
I've got a
dude.
program
Everyone-
to honk the horn every time I press the brake.
Oh, dude, honking the horn. I have a train horn. I'm sure the prices of those aren't outlawed.
Actually,
I'm sure
they
they're
are in
legal in
plenty of
California.
countries. Yeah, and probably California.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm making fun of fuckboys, I have a train horn on my truck. Coming from someone sub
Under
6
power
foot.
stroke.
Yeah.
Your big diesel
F350.
diesel train.
But I mean, it's pretty F350ish.
Yeah, I
pretty
mean-
F350ish of you.
I didn't install it, so it came with it.
Oh, that doesn't count. I mean, it kind of counts, but not really.
Yeah.
it was a
now
selling
take it
item. It was a
I
selling
now
item.
need to reinstall it though because the air pressure regulator broke. So I need to get a new setup.
Well, then if you actually repair it, then you're a fuckboy. Because then
Bring it on.
He's gonna do it.
Bring it on.
Good answer.
Yeah, bring it on. So with that, conclusion, with that mic drop from Christian,
Connor's a fuckboy.
yeah, that we'll wrap this up here. We applaud you if you've made it to this point. This 48 minute and 22 seconds.
We literally started talking about the car scene.
And then we ended up talking about how Connor's
Planes,
a fuckboy.
Yeah, but
Teslas.
hold on.
Connor's a fuckboy.
If you all have made it to this point, you all should be able to leave a comment.
Yeah.
And like it. Come on.
Leave a comment and like it, but let us know if you want more structure, because we enter these podcasts pretty structured and then kind
I'm
of,
sure we could stick to it.
but is it needed? Let us know. We're gonna do us anyways. We're gonna kind of film it however, but
Yeah.
as an audience member, give us your input because it works out.
Yeah.
Anyways, so again, I'm Conor Ahearn. You can find me on pretty much every social media platform except Twitter, right at Conor Ahearn. That's CONORAHEARN. And how about you two cover that?
I'm Peter. You can find me on any social media besides Twitter too. Peter, CALCATERRA.
You can find me on Instagram at COSKARLI. And I actually haven't been plugging this one, but I also have an automotive page if you want to see any of that. That is at OE_original.
Yeah, we were talking about our entrepreneurial efforts in our last podcast, and all three of us kind of, me a little bit less than you two, covered what we all do. And if you want to go see what Peter and Christian do, go check out that last podcast. It's all about kind of being an entrepreneur, what it takes, and our opinions on that. So thanks for watching, listening, and hope you enjoyed. Catch you next time.